Hello! Today we will talk about the blood and the lymphatic system. Our blood is not just red water. It consists of four main parts. First, the plasma. It's straw-colored liquid with proteins and other dissolved substances. The white blood cells are part of the immune system, the platelets, which are a special kind of cell fragment, and finally the red blood cells, which have hemoglobin, which makes our blood red. And we need iron to make that hemoglobin. Red blood cells. The hemoglobin makes the red blood cell color, and the red blood cell color makes our blood colored red. Otherwise, it would just be kind of a straw yellowish color. Hemoglobin carries oxygen to the body and carbon dioxide back to the lungs so we can get rid of them. And here's a weird thing. Red blood cells have no nuclei. When they are first made, they have a nucleus, but they spit them out before they go into circulation, so they have more room for oxygen. Kind of cool. Platelets are cell pieces. They're not a whole cell. If you notice the picture here, they're the little dark blue dots. The kind of reddish, pinkish cells are red blood cells. And those are little platelets, those little dark blue spots. And they help in blood clotting, which is a very important thing. If we can't clot our blood, we could bleed to death. White blood cells are also really important. There are many kinds of blood cells. They guard against infection, fight parasites, attack bacteria. When the doctor says, oh, you have an increased white blood cell count, it means you have an infection in your body and you're fighting it. If you notice the picture here, you'll see the smaller circles that are just kind of a pinkish purple, or maybe lavender. Those are red blood cells. The bigger ones that have a irregular shape like a C or a big circle or even a Mickey Mouse head in them, those are the white blood cells. Those big ones are the white blood cells. They don't really look white because they've been dyed to show the nuclei. And those dark parts of them, each of those is a nucleus. And those white blood cells can live for years. Plasma, it's the liquid part of your blood. And again, it's not red, it's straw colored. There's a picture of it. It helps control your body temperature, osmotic pressure, and blood volume. How does it work? Well, here's the weird thing. It leaks out of your capillaries into the tissues. So the oxygen and nutrients can also leak out as well. They can diffuse into that liquid part and then they can feed your tissues, which is very important. It also changes names depending on where it is. While it's called plasma when it's in the blood vessels, when it leaks into the tissue fluid, when it leaks into the tissues, it's called tissue fluid. And then we have to return it to the blood, to the circulation, and it has to go through the lymphatic vessels to get there. When it gets into the lymphatic vessels, it's called lymph. And we're going to talk about that on the next slide. So the lymphatic system, maybe you've never heard of it. Maybe you don't know about lymph vessels. I'm pretty sure you've heard of lymph nodes before. But the lymphatic system is a network of vessels, nodes, and organs that collect the lymph that leave the capillaries and screens it for microorganisms before returning it to the circulation. On that top picture, you see the red and the blue. That's the veins and arteries. But the green part, which really aren't these colors in our body, the green part is the lymph capillaries or the lymphatic vessels. And it's a whole system all over our body. Most people didn't even realize we had a whole network of lymph vessels all over our bodies, but we do. So how does that lymph, that liquid, move through the lymph vessels? Well, there is no lymph heart. Now, with the circulatory system, we got a heart that beats and pushes around the blood. But our lymphatic system doesn't have like a special lymph heart. No, no, no. Instead, it's got one-way lymph vessels. one-way valves in the vessels. And by moving your muscles, it pushes against the lymph vessels and it squeezes all different parts of your body. So the tissue fluid moves into the lymph vessels, and then the lymph can only move one way when it's in those lymph vessels. So it goes back to the blood vessels. This is why it's very important to keep moving. Don't just lie in bed all the time, because you're going to have things leaking out of your blood vessels and not going back in. So we want to keep moving and get that fluid back where it goes. The lymphatic system, again, the lymph nodes act as filters, trapping microorganisms, stray cancer cells, and debris. Swollen lymph nodes. Now, you've probably said, oh, I've got swollen glands. When they say that, they really don't mean usually swollen glands. They mean swollen lymph nodes. They happen when a large number of microorganisms are trapped inside that lymph node and they get all swollen. So thank you. This is all about the blood and the lymphatic system. We'll see you later.